Hello learners, welcome to today's lesson. We shall be covering some basic aspects in physics, and that is the introduction to physics, and that is mainly the Form 1 physics, and it is being presented by me, Mr. Isaac Ochan. So watch it. We have some specific objectives for our lesson, and it's saying here that by the end of the lesson, the learner should be able to define physics, to understand what the study of physics focuses on, the branches of physics. Then shall have some recap, and by the end of the lesson, I will leave you with some activity that you can be able to do at your own free time. And to bring us to speed, kindly allow me let you watch some simple video, and this video was got from Let's Tute. You can follow it on YouTube to help you understand more basic things in line with the physics.
Hey friends, in this session we will be introduced to a whole new world of physics where we shall look at very many things that physics covers. Because we know that we are living in the world of physics with a very beautiful planet, which is the earth that we have been positioned by the grace that what we see, what we feel, and what our curiosity tells us about what the world is, all that, what happens, could have raised very many questions in our heads. But could be asked what's going on, how does it happen? But the questions have a very simple answer, and that is the physics that you're handling today. So, to help us meet what we see, understand the events that happen, then we need to understand also what we don't see at the same time. So, what is that actually? We shall find it out. To help us, let's go through the everyday life examples that we see. And once you know that when the bell is ringing, then it means that there's something that is very important and we have to look up to. And what does it mean? Time to wake up. So, what happens? You have to wake up, do the stretching, but all that we do it just as our normal daily practices. And we just heard the sound, but you don't know how it works. The ultrasonic sounds used in the hospitals, the sonar sounds that are used in the navigation to measure the depth of the sea, and all other aspects that cover, that fall under the sound. You get to understand how the properties of sound can be propagated, production of it, origin, and all that shall have them in physics. Also, we look at our aspect number 2, which is a very important aspect that if you want to boil water, then you must have covered it. I know that it's going to, at a certain point, gain heat and starts to boil in the stove. And what does it mean? The water has started boiling, the steam goes up. I know that at that point, it is at the boiling point of 100 degrees Celsius. You shall get to understand all these concepts under the same topic of heat. And that same heat that we're also looking at in this case can also be used for different purposes, like in the heating furnaces.
So that is a brief video. I hope you'll continue to follow the video. And as I told you earlier on, the video was got from the Let's Tute platform on YouTube, Introduction to Physics. So kindly allow me to take you through the definition that we have for today. And here we're saying that physics is a branch of science that deals with the study of matter and its relation to energy. And of course, very important to note in this case is that a person who studies physics is known as a physicist, not a physician. Take note of that, so important in this case. And going forward, we now look at what the study of physics covers. And here saying covers the nature and the origin of the universe and explains the occurrence and behavior of natural phenomena. Like what we always observe when it's most like rain, you realize that there's going to be some kind of rainbow. We expect some sunrise and sunsets. We get to understand why it appears to be yellow or red during the sunrise and the sunset. And also shall be able to understand why a dog can detect a tiptoeing thief at night when the thief is even at a very far distance. So all that shall be able to understand in physics. Very important to note. Then also we now go into the other aspect that physics covers, and here we say that physics helps to develop theories and laws which solve problems in various fields such as optics, nuclear energy, and communication. And of course, the examples that we have for this case, we have the cell phones, the computers, the laser lights, the nuclear weapons, and very many others. And besides here, we have our equipment or the devices that could have been developed as a result of understanding the theories and the laws in physics. And we have the satellite system there, and we have the nuclear power plant, which could be used in bigger industries to produce bigger amounts of energy. Now let's get into the branches of physics, and in our outline we have mechanics, waves, optics, electricity, heat, magnetism, and electromagnetism. We have the nuclear physics, then finally the earth and space physics, which was recently added into our syllabus. So to help us understand the mechanics, we have say that deals with the motion of objects, rather bodies, under the influence of forces, like whatever we see and there is force involved in it, then that one now falls under the mechanics branch of physics. We shall get to understand whatever happens there in mechanics. We also have the waves that deals with transfer of energy from one place to another without movement of the medium itself. As in we saw in the other last video that sound was being produced by the bell, and we were able to hear that the bell or the alarm clock was ringing, but there was no physical movement of the medium in the space. We just heard the sound, and that was what we saw. So in that case, we shall also be able to understand it in waves. And there we have just a simple illustration of what we call the ripple tank. Shall get to understand its objectives, its advantages, why would we even need it, like how important it is in the laboratory, other aspects. We also have the optics, and that deals with the nature of light and its behavior in various media. Like how does even the sun travel? Why do we have light? Why do we need light? And all such shall be able to understand it in the light branch of physics. Then you also have the electricity. That the electricity we always use that from home, connect our phones, to charge our equipments, to watch our TVs, or all that. There is transmission from the main power plant, and of course from different regions. We well know that we have one of the substations in Opuyo, so there we shall also get to understand what each of them does, how it happens, the transformers and all that under this branch called electricity. Most important, you have the heat, and here say looks at how heat as a form of energy is transformed, or to or from other forms of energy. Then you also have the magnetism, it deals with the properties of magnets and their production and applications, where we shall be able to understand most of the applications, things to do with the electric bells, the phones, the what, like whatever is made out of magnet, that one shall now term it as electromagnets. Shall get to understand all that. Then you also have the other nuclear physics, which deals with the recent developments in physics and their applications. Must have been hearing the protons, the nuclears, atomic physics, the nuclear physics, something like that. You shall be able to understand what happens in the atomic bombs and any other kind of fusion to happen. So we have there some illustrations of the atoms, the fusion which happens there, and you shall also be looking at the fission. So those are two different words. There is fission, then fusion. Get to understand them later on. Then now have finally the earth and space physics, which now looks at the study of physics of earth and space beyond its atmosphere, not just the earth only. Remember, the earth is just one of the planets in the universe, but we have several others. And of course, at this point, we shall also remove the other planets called the Pluto, because we say that that one doesn't qualify to be a very good planet, because most of other moons rather, in other planets are bigger than Pluto. I need to say that Pluto, for something to be qualified to be called a planet, then should be having all the qualities that it requires. So the key points we had here, we look at the definition of physics, what the study of physics covers or focuses on, then the branches of physics, and finally, learners, we have some activity to do here, and we are saying what is physics. Then next, identify and briefly explain the different branches of physics. Like from what we covered, I expect you to brainstorm on that, share with a friend, discuss it, so that in our next engagement or in our next lesson, will come when you're prepared for serious activity, and will bring us to speed. That will help us to move so smoothly and shall enjoy our time here. It has been me, your teacher, Isaac Ochan. Please stay blessed. I love you all.